Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the official Hermitcraft Modsauce server. This thing looks a little different, doesn't it? This is our Blaze and Creeper farm, and yes, that's right, I've used some different materials here, but this mod that these materials came from is absolutely amazing, and I'm sure loads of you know about this. It is the chisel mod. Now the chisel mod is like saying, do you want to do some building? Let me make that really fun and easy for you. This is one of the most awesome and straightforward mods I've ever seen. So if you craft yourself a chisel, which is this thing right here, it's really cheap, and then you make some blocks that are compatible with it, and you drop them in, it's going to give you 16 textures to choose from, and they are all really varied and interesting textures, and it's not just for this one material, which is the factory block. It does about, I think, 10 or 12 different materials, which means a heck load of interesting textures to build with. Now, if you remember, we did this with marble before. That's because I wanted to use these marble textures, and now I know how to use the chisel. Unfortunately, this type of marble isn't compatible with our chisel, and I'm yet to find a sample of this one to convert it using barrels. But when we do, I don't think I'm going to switch back from this. However, I don't think me and this industrial looking texture pack is going to work too well. I don't think this looks particularly impressive. However, I do like this corridor leading down where you've got this like hazard wire blocks on the side, which is pretty cool. But this is, of course, the Blaze and Creeper Farm project from the last episode. And I gotta say, I have been a complete derp, and it's all I'm going to be when I'm playing these mods. You know, I have learning difficulties, and I find it quite hard to pick up new things. So when playing with the mods, you're just kind of overwhelmed by the amount of things that are around you, and it can be pretty hard to think about how to go about doing these projects. And I find it particularly amusing, as many of you pointed out to me, that I didn't even think of using water to push all the mobs over to one side and then push them into less iron spikes overall to kill them. And that is ridiculous. I cannot believe I didn't think of doing that, but here you go. I'm stuck in the mind frame of using mods, so I'm just trying to use the iron spikes, and I've got to remember to think outside the box a little bit and think about other things that we can use. But these iron spikes, yes, I have crafted them all. I didn't get all of the iron myself. I had a lot of help from Zul'jin. I think the whole thing cost about 2 stacks of iron blocks, which is a ridiculous amount of iron, and I think what we're probably going to do is eventually uncraft this stuff, because there is an uncrafting table in the game, so we'll get our resources back eventually. And what we might do in this episode is actually convert this thing to use water as well. Now, many of you were telling me about some other things we could build, like fans and conveyor belts to move the mobs, but we're just going to use water for now since it's pretty straightforward and I know what I'm doing. So the next thing we're going to do is actually put these spawners into place. I need to find somewhere to dump all of my inventory to. I'm just going to put the blocks in here for now. You know, that's one of the things that is getting increasingly difficult with this game, is just keeping track of all the different items and where to store them. And a lot of you have been leaving comments about, you know, making a me storage system or an AE2, and the thing is, I know nothing about these mods, and I have looked into a fair few of them, and like I said, it's not that straightforward for me to learn about things. It takes me a bit of time, so you'll have to give me some time to get used to these mods. And over here, look, I've even labelled it. We'll start off with we'll do the blaze spawners first, because creepers can blow up and that could really backfire. Now, I only have 2 of these at the moment, but I did find a third one. And now I'm going to move really slow, aren't I? And so what we'll do in a little bit is we'll go down there, have a look at the dungeon that it came from, and we'll see if we can find it, because they hide the blaze spawners in the walls in the roguelike dungeons. And another little comment I want to make, there is always this guy with a creeper hat on, and I've got a feeling something's changed with this mod, because every time I logged out and in, they used to have different hats, where it seems like now they actually save the hats that they have on, because there's always that guy with a creeper in there. Anyway, let's see if we can place these down. This thing is well and truly ready to go, with the exception of the glass. Let's make sure we've got some glass on us at the side here. And what we're going to do, I've kind of forgotten already. I think we're supposed to remove the glass. Yeah, that's right. No, we're placing it where the dirt is. We actually need another block underneath the dirt. I am not prepared here, am I? And it's going to take me a moment to do this. So we do have 3 blaze spawners, and at the moment I can't really be bothered to move all of those iron spikes down after putting them there. So we're actually going to put 3 in a row, including where that block is there. So we'll go down one at a time, and the torches are now removed, so these things are able to spawn instantly. And there we go, we've got a couple of spawns. And let's place this. Well, that sucked. Let's place the second one. Come on. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we can fill in a little bit of this glass just to make it safe. And then this thing should be working. I can hear them taking damage. It is really just as straightforward as that, isn't it? Amazing. And yes, the spawning layers will overlap and it's not quite as efficient, but for now I think it'll be fine. This guy appears to have targeted me, so he's flying upwards. That could have been from before I patched in the glass, so that would be normal behaviour for him. But there we go. We are going to have loads of blaze rods. All I got to do now is stand here AFK and we're going to get tons of those things. And that, by the way, is another thing about the iron spikes that I didn't really think about fully, is that you have to kill the blazes manually to get the blaze rods, right? Well, the iron spikes treat it like a player's killing it, so you'll actually get those and any rare items as well, which means we can use these things on those skeleton spawners as well, which is absolutely awesome. And look at that. We got a heart, we got a blaze rod. I don't know where we got the heart from. Maybe that's a rare drop. In fact, this kind of makes sense because these are mob spawners from the dungeon, and I've noticed that they actually spawn any other mob type that has, you know, that doesn't wear armor. They'll actually spawn it with armor on. So if this was all the way down at bedrock, these guys could possibly be dropping diamond armor, which is interesting stuff. I'm going to let a few more of these guys spawn, and then we're going to go down and have a look and see if they've dropped any more armor. So these guys are definitely dropping armor. And that's probably going to be more of a burden than it is a good thing, because we're eventually going to have to filter these things out if we want to automatically collect the blaze rods. But one thing that I've noticed, if we go up the top here, you'll see that these iron spikes are illuminated. And the reason why is because I believe they are transparent, and the torches we have below them are shining through. And it made me wonder, if mobs can actually spawn on these things, then you could have them in dark rooms, they would spawn on them and then instantly die, which would be a pretty crazy way of killing them. But now we're going to go down below and grab that other blaze spawner. I really want to work on this thing actually and improve it, because you guys had a ton of suggestions with the conveyor belts and the fans and things like that, and I want to look into using those and see if we can make this farm more interesting. And by the way, DMAC is over here and he's just started doing a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know what it was. He was teleporting between these blocks. Oh, it's an elevator block from open block. Does that mean, oh, I can just, okay, that's good to know. I'll have to look into using that for sure. That's pretty interesting. So I just press spacebar and I go up the top. What happens if I press spacebar up here? Nothing. And if I press shift, I go down. That is awesome. Okay, it's just the other side of this wall down here. I hadn't explored this part of the dungeon. The thing is ever so huge. That's right, I found some diamonds. It's a good thing I remembered that. I need my other pick, which is going to break soon. So they spawn in here. And actually, I don't think this is the room. I think it's the next one over. Or maybe not. Okay. Well, let's hang around in this one and see if a blaze spawns, because it was somewhere over the side here that I believe the spawner actually was. Huh. Maybe it wasn't. So I've been trying to figure out where this blaze spawner is, and all of a sudden I've got a feeling it's kind of staring me in the face. Yeah, that's where it is, of course. Right in the middle of the room. Alright, let's get out of here. We've got this blooming slowness effect now. That's going to make things difficult. I am back with a blaze spawner. Let's place this thing in quickly. Hopefully this will be painless. There we go. Oh god, one right in front of me. And we filled it in. That is awesome. So now we can work on the creeper one on this side over here. What I want to do is make this one a little bit more efficient, make it bigger. So we're going to place the creeper spawners spaced out like this. That means we're going to have to lower the iron spikes. But I'm also going to ditch the most of them and actually use the conveyor belts and fans like you guys suggested. So if we go into here and type in conveyor belt, you'll see that this thing right here is pretty easy to craft. I mean, I haven't really looked this thing up. I'm just going to place it down and see what happens. But that should move the mobs, I gather. And this stuff right here, rubber, is made from tree resin, which is a lot easier to make than its alternative, which was the rubber bar, which is made from glue. And this stuff, you have to have some metal in the smeltery and then put horses in it. Horses, of all things, to make the glue. That was just ridiculous. And I don't have the time to do that. So luckily, that tree resin stuff, all you have to do is craft these boxes, which are made out of 4 pieces of wood. And when you right click on them, it tells you how much resin is in the pot. So this one has 0.89. The one next to it was full, so we get a bit of tree resin. Does it have some left over as well? Yeah, it looks like it can perhaps fill up more than the one. Anyway, I'm going to wait here and get a few pieces of this, because we're probably going to need quite a lot. For 16 of these, we need 3 pieces of rubber, and I haven't even estimated how many we're going to need over there. But considering that that thing, or at least the spawn area, is 8 wide, then I'm going to guess we need 4 sets of them. So that's going to be, well, with 3 pieces each, that's going to be 12 pieces of resin we need. So we're almost ready to implement this creeper spawner. I have put down the conveyor belts. It is now dark because there are no light blocks under them. I don't know if they actually let light shine through them. You know, there are so many new blocks we're working with and I have so many questions about it. But we're about to put down the glass here at the front. By the way, these iron spikes are in line with the edge of this, so they can fall directly onto them. I thought that will save some conveyor belts, and it allows us to put this window here, which is going to line up nicely. But this is dark glass, so you can see the room is actually getting a little bit darker as we place this in. That is very cool to see. And that is going to be a nice view. But at the moment, our chests are down below, picking up the items. I did a little bit of a test just to make sure it works, and it seems to be fine. So I'm going to look into a way of picking up these items differently, or to transport the items easily as well up to the top, so we can have a nice little workstation room back here where we can observe all of this happening. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. And by the way, I had a little bit of an idea here. Let's grab some of these blaze rods because we have a ridiculous amount of items here now. In fact, I don't even know how I'm going to get rid of these. Yes, I can just press that. Okay, that's cool. Except they're going back into the chest because of course I'm throwing them onto the item collector. Okay, let's just remove that for a second. Okay, so we're going to fill the chest up like that, and then that's going to kind of act like an item filter, because the only thing that can go into there now is blaze rods, and I'm wondering what happens. Does this thing like fill up if it can't pick up the item? Does it just ignore it? Let's chuck down a gold helmet nearby. It didn't pick it up. Actually it did, it disappeared, didn't it? Okay, and it didn't go into there. Now I'm wondering if this thing has like its own inventory. Let's say it's like 3 or 4 blocks or something like that. Are these things going to get caught up in there and then it's not going to be able to pick up the blaze rods? Seems to be okay at the moment with those extra items around there. So let's chuck down a blaze rod. Remember, it picked up that gold helmet and didn't do anything with it. And it picks up the blaze rods just fine. Okay, so it seemed that that system would work. I'm going to do that for all of these because we don't need these extra items, although they do drop the hearts as well. And I don't think these stack. Did I pick one up in my inventory? No. Right, we've got another one over there. Let's just check that they stack or not. Okay, they do. That's good to know. So we'll probably collect just the blaze rods, the blaze powder, and the miniature hearts. So this is how I've set up what I guess you could call our item filter, and I'll keep my eye on this because if we get, you know, more miniature hearts and blaze powder and all of these blaze rods aren't filled up, then I'll adjust that, but that's going to be good. We can leave that thing running and do some AFK farming, but we are now ready to put in the creeper spawners. I am not looking forward to this. Got this horrible feeling that one of them's going to blow up, but in theory they should just fall straight down. And I do have mining fatigue. Let's use my shovel, that'll make life easier. And I can't seem to reach that one. There we go. I decided that nighttime wasn't the best of times to be doing this, and it doesn't really change the visibility too much because it's dark in here, but my worry is placing something on the bottom there. I'm not sure if I can even reach it. Let's get right in the corner. Okay, I'm right clicking, nothing's happening. We're going to have to go in by a block, which is kind of worrying because that's where a creeper can spawn. And why aren't you placing down? Can you not be placed on a factory block? Am I too far away still? Oh, this is kind of worrying. What's going on here? Okay, let's try it on the block above. Nope. Doesn't want to let me place these. Let's do a little test out here. You can see there's plenty of torches. We can place it down and we can pick it back up. Okay, good. No creepers spawned, but we can't place it inside of here, and I don't know why. Oh, there we go. One placed. It didn't place on the one down below. That's kind of scary. Look, there's a creeper down the bottom already. So maybe I've got to change that block type. That's probably going to be it. It won't place on top of the chisel blocks. Okay, let's see if we can remove that again. I know that's in range. Why is it not placing? Maybe it's like lag or something's wrong with the server. There we go. Okay, we picked it back up. Right, I think I'm going to do this off camera because it's going to take a little bit of experimenting to get it to work. I think what I'm going to try and do is replace that... Oh. Replace the block at the bottom with a dark glass one. Oh dear. What an amazing sight this is. Oh, I love the way they fall apart when they die as well. We're getting revenge for all of those creeper holes that have blown up our buildings. Oh, this thing is awesome. I'm going to stand here for a while and watch these guys die. I gotta say though, I would have thought it would have been a little bit faster for 3 mob spawners up there. In fact, at the moment it's running a little faster than it normally does. Kind of varies, you know. Sometimes they drop 1 or 2 each, and then sometimes they drop them in packs, which is pretty cool. Wow, that is a nice amount of gunpowder. I've literally been standing here for just a minute or so. That is awesome. This is really awesome. I've just cleared out a little bit of space here, and I've got some inspiration to build a room, because this just looks like we're in some sort of control terminal watching some experiment going on in the background. I love how dark it is back there as well, and there's a little bit of glitchiness with the conveyor belts, but I think it looks awesome. So we're going to do the same thing with the Blaze farm as we've done on this side, and then I'm going to make it into one big control room, and I'm going to try and use these factory blocks. Now, we used a lot of them already, and I don't think they quite suit my building style, if I even have one. However, I want to kind of keep the theme. So down here we're going to build a nice looking control room, and hopefully I can use as many of these factory blocks as I can, but I might try and use some other blocks as well. And I'm not sure really what's going to go in this control room. We're just going to sort of stand here, but I guess eventually we'll probably have like an on-off switch for this farm, and also maybe like a collection area for the items. We'll have them automatically brought up to the top somehow. So if you have any suggestions on how to do that, please do tell me, because at the moment the only thing I can think of is vanilla item elevators, which of course we don't want to be using. Want to use some of the mods to do that kind of stuff. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to crack on and build a little control room down here. Ah, the chisel mod. Yes, it is amazing. Look at this room right here. It is probably not the most impressive thing you've ever seen with a chisel mod, but it looks pretty amazing. I love it. It is so easy to build with these blocks. In fact, I spent quite a lot of time just playing around with all the different textures and looking at the different things that you can do with them, because there are just so many more options. You've got the stone bricks down here, cobblestone, we've even got iron blocks over here. In fact, let's grab the chisel and have a look. I've got these in my inventory. So cobblestone gives you all of those to work with. Smooth stone, you get all of these. And you can see here they've got even more. They've got an extra 2 on this one. And you can even turn iron blocks. I think they do it for emerald, gold, redstone, lapis blocks, all of those ones as well. And there's some really nice textures here to choose from. And then there's this Tyrian, which is made with, I think, iron in the middle and then stone around the outside, and then there's a whole bunch more textures there. So between all of those I have made this, and I think it looks alright. As I said, not the most impressive thing, but I'm learning and this is fun to build with. But at the moment I've run into a little bit of a problem, because I want to add some lighting in this room, and most of the lighting that I can find about in this game uses glowstone, which I have absolutely none of. So I wanted to put the glowstone up the top here in the middle, and then have half slabs around the outside. Problem is, the carpenter's blocks half slabs seem to have been removed in the update. I can't find any way to craft them, and I can't remember how I did it before, but that was my plan, to have like a little indent so you had half slabs just around the lighting blocks, which would have gone in the middle. So I don't know how we're going to do the half slabs. Maybe someone will be able to tell me how it's done. But glowstone is what we need next. And over here I want to put a button on the wall as well, which will turn the creeper spawner on and off, and for that we are going to need glowstone as well. So I have an idea to go into the nether and to actually do some branch mining. That was an idea I had a while ago. We could do that to get some of the nether ores, but also we might find a few safe spots to get some glowstone. But last time I went into the nether I had a horrible time and I was not equipped for it at all. Whereas now we've got our diamond armor and we've got a decent sword and a bow as well, so it might not be so bad. So I think we're going to head over there and try and get ourselves some glowstone. I am such a dummy. Jevin has reminded me how to do the half slabs. I think I just need to hit it with a hammer. Ah, there we go. I completely forgot about that. So that's how we do it. I don't know if I'm going to go with this. Oh, and this is one of the things I love about carpenter's blocks. It's smart. It knows that if you're placing it next to a half slab, that's probably what you want the next one to be. Ever so clever. I love like the intuitiveness of some of these mods. Anyway, let's put all of these blocks in place. So the branch mining isn't going too well. I've got 50 quartz ore, which by the way breaks straight into quartz ore, which is pretty cool, and just 3 ardite ore. Although we do have plenty of netherrack, which might work with a chisel. We can also make that into nether bricks, so I guess that's a new material to build with. But going in this direction, my portal's just there by the way, I found some dirt, and on the other side of it is this little room right here. And there's some black ore. I don't know if there's going to be anything behind it. Oh, it looks like there is as well, and I don't have any torches. I'm probably going to go grab some of those, because there is a creeper spawner here. A creeper blew up right next to it, and it didn't destroy it, which is cool. But that is another one that's going to go in our farm and make it a little bit more efficient. So that was a nice find. But I think once we've explored the other side of that dungeon, I'm going to be going down into the nether to try and actually get some glowstone, because doing it that way didn't really lead to any openings or anything like that. So check this out. This is an amazing looking dungeon. Unfortunately, it's generated up here. It'd be nice if it generated down on the surface somewhere, but there are some sticky pistons here. And then on the other side, oh, that scared me. There's actually 2 creeper spawners. So now we can have 5 in our farm, which is amazing. And by the way, absolutely nothing in the chest. But I'm going to pick these up a little bit later. For now, we're going to go down to the surface and see if I can snag myself some glowstone. I've got a feeling, though, some of the other players might have already taken it on the server, so fingers crossed. Our good friend TFC has come to the rescue. He has donated a stack of glowstone. I was searching the nether and I couldn't find any glowstone anywhere, so that is really helpful. And it allows us to finish this project. This next idea that I'm going to show you was suggested by Casper, so thanks very much for suggesting this. I think this idea is absolutely awesome. So I'm going to explain what this thing is in a moment, but let's just keep our eyes over there on the mob farm. When we power that, we have some drawbridges that go down and extend the glowstone all the way down there, so it stops the creepers from spawning, which is amazing. And yes, we have 5 creeper spawners in there now, which is awesome. I picked up those extra ones from the nether. So this thing right here is a wireless transmitter. I just searched. Did I just say searched? I searched the NEI to find something that was wireless, and I found this. There was also something called a wireless lever, but this only works in a 10 block range, so I didn't want to use that. Plus it makes other animations. But this thing basically sends out a redstone signal wirelessly on a frequency. And over here I set up a little thing to kind of show you, although it's pretty self-explanatory. So this is frequency 901, and that's a receiver on that side over there. So you power one and you get your power back on the other one. So up the top there are some receivers, and this thing came in useful for getting up the top. I like that. And you have to put redstone on top of the drawbridge. I tried it with this thing directly on top of it and it wouldn't power it. So down the bottom here we also have one of these behind that block. And I did want to put a button on here, and I remember someone telling me about a button that acts like a T flip-flop, but I couldn't find it. So for now we're going to have a lever. And the floor there kind of gets a bit funky when the glowstone is extending. But that, I've got to say, is absolutely awesome. And that is all we're going to have time for this episode, unfortunately. As you've heard me say a few times, I'm going away for the weekend, so I'm kind of pressed for time. And I'm hoping that I'll get some time in between episodes to do what we did on this side over here for the blaze. But there is one thing that I want to know, or at least ask you guys for a suggestion, is what kind of lighting do we want to put in the middle here? There's a whole bunch of things that I've had a look at in NEI. I'm not sure which one I want to go with, but we do have a little bit of glowstone, so if you've got any suggestions for lighting, maybe stuff I don't know about, then feel free to leave a comment and we can put that in there. We're going to have another one of these on the other side. It is going to look amazing when we are done. But that kind of wraps things up this episode. We're getting tons of gunpowder, lots of blaze rods, and these farms have been a true success. And I think it's a good place to end this one off. So as always, if you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. It will always be appreciated. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.